righty. We've got two of the best, Ben Domenech, Fox News contributor, and Ben Ferguson, host of the Ben Ferguson podcast. Fellas, just quickly, because I want to get into some of these other things, but Ben Domenech, your quick thoughts on this memorandum of understanding, which is chock full of ambiguities. And J.D. Vance says they're not going to get a nickel unless they toe the line and comply with what we want. What do you think?
A couple of things. First off, I think that they're going to get money before that because the oil is already flowing out of there, as was brought up in the press conference. As for the other ambiguities that you discussed, I think that's one of the reasons that a lot of the skepticism that you're hearing from folks on Capitol Hill is rooted in a belief that none of this is ever going to materialize. I heard Victor Davis Hanson, indicating something along those lines as well, and I certainly have that skepticism. Finally, I just point out he responded to a question from our Mary Margaret Olahan at the Daily Wire about what red lines Iran could cross that would make them start bombing again, as President Trump has suggested, would happen. And he said, one of the first things he said was, well, if they start, funding terror, Iran has never stopped funding terror. So it would be very out of character for them to suddenly take that off their grocery list.
I don't think there ever is going to be a final deal. Maybe I'll be wrong, Ben Ferguson, but I don't know. I'm just saying, when you read the memorandum of understanding, yes, in return for reopening Hormuz, we've removed the blockade, and we're going to let Iran sell oil. Okay. We had Dave McCormick on, Senator McCormick, yesterday. He said that, that you sort of have to do that. That's bad. But the rest of it, there's no $300 billion. I don't know where that number came from. The Gulf states are not going to do it. They're going to fix their own wagons, if you will. To me, if they don't meet the performance criteria, they're not going to get any money.
Yeah, look, I think in life, friendship is really important, and you got to tell your friends honestly when they're making a mistake. I love President Trump. I think what he's done in Iran has been amazing, but he was handed a bad memo here, and this is a memo. As a friend, you should be able to go to the president and say, Mr. President, this is a bad deal. Now, I believe the president will bomb them if he needs to. I believe the president will get things right if he needs to. But J.D. Vance, I think, and his team handed the president a disaster of a memo of understanding. And if you read it, it is a disaster. If you were angry about the pallets of cash that were sent by the Obama administration, then you should be losing your mind. And unfortunately, right now, Larry, there are too many Republicans on Capitol Hill that are afraid to, I think, say that to the president. But real friends tell their friends when they're about to make a mistake here. This is a bad deal. It gives Iran money instantly. They're going to use that money to kill people. They're going to use it to support terrorism. This is a memo. I don't think I agree with you. It'll ever become a real deal. Right. I love Donald Trump, but somebody's got to say it.
I may be wrong. You're right. By the way, that's their job. Stand up, say what they think. You're absolutely right. So we'll see how this plays out. Now, much more fun. Democrats hate America. Ben Domenech, we'll start with you. This is way too easy, but the polls, I don't know if these are good polls or bad polls. NBC News survey, Reuters, I don't know. Anyway, displaying American flag, 64% Republicans, 27% Democrats. What is wrong with them? Reuters, Ipsos, okay? Extremely, very proud to be an American. 90% Republicans, 29% Democrats. They're not even proud to be an American. July 4th is a day to celebrate America. 65% Republicans, 24% Democrats. In other words, only a quarter of the Democratic Party, according to these polls, are patriots, all right, and celebrate America. What is up with that?
I think those Republican numbers are embarrassing. They need to be higher.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
They don't surprise me, Larry, because they've been becoming a party that hates America ever since back in the day when I think it was James Carville who said the big mistake was giving up the Bible and the flag. They've totally given up on that, and they've given up on the idea that there's anything that's not just good about America, but amongst many of them redeemable about America. That if there's any good story to tell about America, it's just something that is awash in sin and racism and sexism and misogyny and all this horrible history of everything that they think is just wrong with this country. Look, I think that America is a wonderful place. I would love for Democrats
Amen.
to admit to themselves that they are some of the luckiest people in the history of the world to live here in this time, in this day.
And to be
just
free.
Be happy in this.
To be free to spout all the left-wing nonsense that they're free to spout. They never put that in. But Ben Ferguson, now, we got ourselves, I think, a socialist going to become mayor of Washington, D.C.?
Yeah.
Now, how do you reckon President Trump's going to handle that one?
Yeah, look, this is what the Democratic Party is. When they tell you they're crazy, that they're Marxist, socialist, communists, I'll say it again, believe them. They just have to tell you they're a Democrat because they don't want to lose Democratic voters and aren't ready to say, I'm a Marxist, or I'm a socialist, or I'm a communist. But this is now the Democratic Party. And you go back to these numbers on America. Ben, you were homeschooled too, right? Do I remember? Is that right, Ben Domenech? You were homeschooled.
Yes.
Yeah. We both need to apologize to our parents. This is why they homeschooled us. And I didn't like it that much, but they didn't want us to hate America. They wanted to raise us to love America. So to Mom, Dad, if you see this, you were right. I was wrong. Thanks for actually making me love this country. The Democrats were brilliant. They took over the public school system all over the country. And they have indoctrinated, Larry, an entire generation, almost 2 generations now, to think that America is evil, that America is somehow a terrible nation that you shouldn't be proud of. And that now is a Marxist, Communist, Democratic Party. And now those people are running for office, and they have real power. It's scary.
We're going to fight back. Ben Domenech, thank you. Ben Ferguson, thank you. I appreciate it very, very much. All right, folks, coming up, Kevin Warsh is delivering good news. Okay, good news can be good news again. How about that? We got Conrad DiQuatros and David Bonson next up right here on Kudlow.